You're listening to the Chillen with the Dawgs podcast, where we talk sports, mostly football, and a lot about the Browns. Our episodes drop Friday mornings. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. The more we hear from you guys, the better our podcast can be. All right, now let's get into it. Welcome into the Chillen with the Dawgs podcast. This is your host, Justice, and I'm here today with my old man, Jason. And we're here, unfortunately, talking about this week's game, among other things. But yeah, the Browns losing, close one to the Steelers, way closer than it should have been. Obviously, the big storyline coming out of that game was the loss of Nick Chubb. And you saw several athletes from even different sports going to Twitter talking about, how much they respect Chubb and hope he has a swift recovery. Obviously, that injury was gruesome. I know that ESPN didn't show it, but it did make its rounds on Twitter, and people did see the injury, and it was pretty graphic. If you have a weak stomach, I definitely wouldn't check that out because it's...
Well, I'm sure everybody's seen it by now.
Yeah, but yeah, so I saw a lot of people on the socials talking about how when that happened, the outcome of the game and the flow of the game they had a numb sort of feeling about it. When you see your superstar running back, the leader of your team, honestly, a hero to the city, go down like that, it completely deflates you. And we'll get into some more specifics about that later, but what was your first reaction when you saw that?
Well, when we were watching the game, as soon as it happened, as soon as I saw the tackle, I'm like, he's done. And you're like, what are you talking about? I said, he's done. He's done. I didn't even need to see the replay. It was horrible. I love that guy. I would want him to marry my daughters. I'd look at him as a second son, third son, my favorite son, whatever you want to say. He's really the only reason that I've loved watching the Browns the last few years, because he's dependable. He doesn't say anything. He does his job. He's the typical everyman's football player that, quite frankly, any fan should love. And if they don't love Nick Chubb, they probably shouldn't watch football. He's everything that you want in a football player, and I just hope he's not done. And I don't know if he'll be back ever again, but if Nick Chubb wants to be in a wheelchair and run the football, he'd probably do better. He'd make Deshaun Watson look better in a wheelchair than what he looked Monday night.
Yeah, and that kind of gets into the crux of it all. The offense, for not sugarcoating it, looked like shit, to be honest. It was trash.
No, I disagree. The offense didn't look like trash. Deshaun Watson looked like trash.
Well, as the, point guard of that offense, I personally think that the entire offense looked like shit. And yes, I agree that Deshaun Watson was the massive, major contributor to that. But you had other people putting the ball on the ground as well. You had people. Seemed like
you had Njoku fumbled the ball.
Yeah,
that was it. The other 3 turnovers were Deshaun Watson.
Right, but again, people weren't getting open.
People were open. People were open. I don't know how. I watched the all 22, and I quit watching after the third quarter because I know how the fourth quarter went. Even if they were open, it didn't matter. He couldn't hit them. He looked, and this might be a hot take. I don't know. But I would rather have Jacoby Brissett or Baker Mayfield than Deshaun Watson right now. Because Baker, at his worst, looked better than Deshaun did. And that was Baker with a torn labrum, a fucked up left knee, and a screwed up right foot. Looked better than what Deshaun Watson did. And this is what I was worried about. And I know I said I was going to give him 6 weeks, and I am. I'm just saying, if you watch the all 22 or whatever copy from his first game last season, looked exactly like this game did. Only in this game, he had an attitude and was face masking defenders. So I don't know what's going on, but quite frankly, if he doesn't look any better this week, we're in some big shit. And the Cleveland Browns season will be over. And people can say that's an overreaction if they want to, but I've seen 2 games in a row, weather be damned, Monday, the first game of the season. He didn't look any better in that game than he did last night.
Yeah.
He didn't look any better.
No.
So whether or not the weather factored into it doesn't matter to me. He's $230 million, and he's got to get his head out of his ass. And he's got to do it right quick. Because if he doesn't, we are screwed. This franchise is screwed. And we don't have, and this might just be the Nick Chubb thing because I love that guy. But without him, I mean, if you think about it, you take that 70-yard rush away from Ford, and you think about what our offense did after Nick Chubb left the game. If you watch and notice, they didn't give a rat's ass about our passing attack. They didn't. And our receivers, they weren't open like Lamar Jackson's receivers are wide ass open. So that's a whole nother issue that we can get into. But when they were open, he couldn't hit them. That is the problem. I watched Kenny Pickett, who I say sucks balls. He's horrible. Looked better. And I don't care what anybody thinks. If you watch the game over again, Pickett stood in the pocket, took big shots, and threw the ball. He didn't look good throwing the ball, but he stood there, took big shots, and delivered the football.
Yeah.
As a quarterback, if we'd have had Kenny Pickett instead of Deshaun Watson in that game, we win that game by 30 points. Easily. But Deshaun looked like he did the very first game back. And that was game 8.
Yeah.
So he's got 4 more games, and then I'm saying yank his ass out and put DTR in there.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now.
No, I think that's completely fair. You're right. I mean, I haven't gotten to watch yet the All-22. I did watch the replay a couple of times, and for me, I guess it's just and we've said it before. For some reason, the Browns' offense doesn't seem like it schemes guys open like other teams do, but that is not really an excuse. The main crux of the problem for me is it feels like Deshaun Watson has lost all sense of pocket presence. He has it seems like there's just no internal clock. Now, I will say the one strip sack touchdown, I mean, there wasn't time there. But the other sacks that weren't forced, that he held the ball for 3 plus 4 or 5 seconds, those are on him. And go ahead.
If you look back, if you watch back, you will see what I'm talking about. Kenny Pickett had no more time than Deshaun Watson did.
Right.
The reason our team had 1 sack or whatever we ended up with sack-wise was, and I know I've been listening to the radio and everybody's like, where the hell was Myles Garrett? The sack that TJ Watt got on Deshaun Watson, that was on, in my opinion, on Watson. I know as a lineman, I played left tackle at a very low level. I was horrible because I was 5'6" and 135 pounds. But when I played tackle, I don't know how you can make a guy. The guy was lined up outside and he rushed around the outside. So all Jones could do is push him. He can't get in front of him and cut him off. He just can't. You can't do it physically. And TJ Watt is not slow. He is a damn good ball player. So the only thing you can do is push him and push him away. And Deshaun walked right into it.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, pocket awareness.
Now, if you flip that over and you watch the guys who are blocking Myles Garrett, number 1, he gets chipped, and then the lineman actually engages with him, and he pushes. In 2.5 seconds, the ball's gone. We didn't have 5 seconds like the freaking Steelers defense had to sack our quarterback.
Right.
And granted, Our line looked like trash. The whole line. Not the tackles, the whole line. When Larry Ogunjobi gets a sack and almost has another and is wreaking havoc in our backfield, that is on Posick and Wyatt Teller. But Tonio didn't have a great game. I don't know how the line graded out. I don't put any stock in PFF after a couple things I've seen. There's no freaking way. And our line looked like trash. But if our quarterback drops back and throws the ball on time, ball's gone in two and a half seconds. I mean, when you're in the shotgun and you've got 3 seconds to get rid of the ball and it's not gone, you're in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you think.
No.
To me, that whole game, even when Chubb was in there, we couldn't throw the ball.
Yeah.
And it's because our quarterback looked like he hadn't played a game.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot there's a lot of stuff going on, to be honest. It's not, I think, just one thing. The big thing for me is Deshaun's pocket awareness is not there right now. On top of that, too, I feel like schematically we have a lot of these routes that they're running, and I need to watch the All-22 and see, but we're not doing quick hitters, it feels like. We're doing long extended plays that take time.
You don't even have to watch the All-22, yeah. I can tell you. We're running long routes. Now, I don't understand. That's a whole nother issue. Like, I'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, we're having these long developing plays, which you can't really do if you're we were talking about this the other day. The Steelers, since Ben Roethlisberger couldn't throw anymore, the season where his arm was basically gone, they started implementing with Miles an offense where they're getting the ball out in like 2.8 seconds. Like they're getting quick hitters. They're hitting their guys in a rhythm so that Miles doesn't have the chance to get there. Now, even more so, they have to do that because we have Za'Darius as well. So, like, if you look at the Pickens touchdown, that was a big, I don't know what you'd call that. Like, it wasn't a slam, but it was more of like a crossing route, like a 10-yard crossing route. That's a quick hitter. He just had so much open space.
They just happened to get the right defense at the time.
Right. And so those are things that I just don't see with our offense. There were a couple, like Amari had a couple of those quicker hitters, but it doesn't seem like that is – we're not making adjustments in the scheme to fit the flow of the game. It feels like there's – and I don't know that this is the case. I'm just kind of guessing at this point, but it almost feels like Kevin Stefanski has a script and he doesn't deviate from the script. Like most coaches, they script the first 14 so plays. It seems like there's something going on where we're not making these adjustments. Like if you see, you could sit on the sideline for the first 3 series of the game and see when the line loses. On average, you can average it out. Say even going into halftime, you have an entire half. You can see the momentum of the game and if you just watch the defensive ends, the moment that the defensive end has released from the tackle, that should be the longest that you hold the ball. Because at that point, the only things that can possibly happen are bad. And I don't know what, I didn't sit down with a stopwatch and do that, but I'm sure that if you did it 3 seconds, they were released from their protection for a lot of plays, and especially with Jed Wills, with how he is playing. So you have to make adjustments in that area. You have to – it's like you see a fire, and the fire just keeps coming towards you, and you don't ever make any sort of motion to try to either put it out, run away, do something different. It's like the definition
just stand there
of
and watch it come at you.
Yes, and that's exactly what it feels like watching Kevin Stefanski call plays. It feels like there's no adjustments based off of how the game has showed you it's going to play out. And that is incredibly frustrating. And I would think would be frustrating for the team as well, because I'm just ranting at this point. That was incredibly frustrating to watch. But
Well, okay. I'm going to say it like this. I watched that game twice, and then I watched the All-22. The initial time I watched it was live, and I was just numb. Hell, I was drunk. As soon as Chubb went down, I grabbed my moonshine and I started drinking because the game was over. I knew how that was going to go, especially after what. I mean, I need somebody to explain to me. Okay, you start a football game. You want to get your quarterback going. I get it. But I have Nick Chubb. And what am I going to do? I'm going to come out. I'm going to line up 4 wide, empty backfield. And I'm going to try to throw a pass to get my quarterback in rhythm. So what do? I come out to help my quarterback out. And what's he do? He throws to a third string tight end. It's not out of reach. He got his hands on it. But it's Harrison Bryant, for crying out loud. That guy can't catch a cold half the time. You got to hit him in the chest. At least I know that. He does not catch the ball unless it's in on him. He just doesn't. I've never seen him make a spectacular catch. He'll catch ones that are in on him. So I'm going to throw to this guy, and by the way, I'm going to throw it an impossible pass for that guy to catch, and it gets pick sixth. And everybody's surprised, like Watson's standing there shocked. Well, the coach came out, tried to help him out, and what did he do? He basically screwed it. He screwed the pooch on it. And that set us back 7, which I wasn't worried. I think I said at the time, it's 7 points. If Watson actually plays like Baker Mayfield played at his worst and not like crap, we win that game by 20 points. I'm not even asking him to be as good as what Jacoby was last year. But, God, give me something better than what I've seen. Because what I've seen, I'd rather have DTR.
Yeah.
I say, well, I'm going to give him 6 games. But what I was wanting to say before I got sidetracked there was our defensive line, I think, did a great job. I mean, if you put a stopwatch on Kenny Pickett, there was very few plays he was holding the ball.
That was designed that way.
I know. He hit his back foot and it came out. Now, his guys weren't open. Everyone's talking about our receivers not getting open. His guys were not open.
Watch when Deshaun. So if we watch the All-22 again, watch when Deshaun drops back and watch him bounce and how long those bounces
He doesn't.
take. Well,
there was maybe 2. I watched the All-22 about half-hearted because I'm still kind of depressed about Chubb.
Right.
But what I saw was him hit his back foot and he's running. Like he looked like he did in the first game that he played.
Well, I don't really know because like I said, I haven't seen that yet. But that's kind of what I was trying to get to is you rarely, unless if it is a quick hitter, is he getting to the back foot and the ball is coming out. It seems like he's trying to overanalyze, trying to prove that he is a $230 million quarterback and make plays that aren't there. And that is going to cause so many problems. I just...
Well, somebody, I don't know if it's going to be his dad, his coach, a preacher, his mom. I don't know who it needs to be, but somebody needs to grab him and say, listen, dude, we don't need to play hero ball. Let's just go out here and make the play that's there. And I'm sure some coaches told him.
Well, that's
because any coach that watched the film that I saw, if I'm Kevin Stefanski right now, my pants are full. Like, I've shit myself so much because what I'm seeing, they should have just kept Baker.
Well, what I'm seeing if I'm Kevin Stefanski is I need to start looking for another job because we invested in this guy and he is not who we thought he was. And honestly, if he doesn't turn it around, I had kept saying that you can't get rid of Barry because of all this great stuff he's done in this offseason. But, I mean, how can you look at Jimmy Haslam and be like, hey, we messed up on a $230
Because Jimmy
million.
Haslam's the one who made that call.
Okay, well, maybe he'll give it a pass, but like if that was someone else who had messed that up, that's you're gone no matter what.
There's no way that Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski made that offer to get Deshaun Watson. There's no way. Because if I'm the owner, you better ask me before I guarantee $230 million.
Right.
So, personally, I think that was a Haslam call. I mean, granted, Berry and Stefanski probably kicked it around with him or whatever, but that's his call.
Yeah.
Now, if they kicked it around, if they brought that to me and talked me into it, they're gone if I'm Haslam. Because we do not have time. I mean, we've already wasted 4 years of Chubb's career. And that could
maybe his entire career.
That could be it for him.
Right.
So instead of giving that guy what he deserves, we squandered his career with quarterbacks who are trash. And in all honesty, the best quarterback we've had since 1999 was Jacoby Brissett. If you look at the statistics on that guy, in my opinion, he's the best quarterback we've had since 1999.
Right.
He was a top 10 quarterback last year when he played. I think Deshaun's 30 right now. And he was 32 last year.
Right.
Okay, I don't have another 5 years to wait for him to work his way back up to number 10. And that's where we're headed right now. But he could come out against Tennessee and look like he's never going to look like he used to. He never will. And I don't think there's a damn thing any coach can do about it. He's in his head. Did he forget how to play football? I doubt it. But he didn't play football for 2 years. He's not coming off of an injury where he's got to work himself back into like a torn ACL where he's not comfortable with his leg. That's not the issue. The issue is he didn't play football for 2 years for no reason other than he didn't want to 1 year.
Right.
And then the next year he was suspended. So it's all on him. And I've seen Kevin Stefanski with Jacoby. I've seen Kevin Stefanski with Baker. Good Baker. And good Baker looked pretty damn good. And Jacoby looked really damn good. And Deshaun has been in this system. Granted, he wasn't here for 11 weeks last year, but he was here for the offseason. He had his 6 games. He's been here the whole offseason this season, and he's got 2 games in. And he looks just as bad as he did a year ago. Well, not quite a year ago, but you get the gist of what I'm saying.
No, the thing is like that game, and it's not even like saying bad things about Deshaun. It's like, but truly, if you took any one of Jacoby's starts last year and he played in that game, they would have easily won by a lot. And
Jacoby did not have the defense that we have.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you had Jacoby, and that's the thing is, when
we played Miami, we would have lost.
Yes,
because Miami destroyed us,
and Patriots, I believe too.
Well, I think we'd have beat the Patriots because we would have had
our defense. Right. Yeah, but no, I think Deshaun's got a lot to do. I do think that there is some possibility of him getting this right. It's just I think it cannot be that he gets it right when the season's already gone. And that's the thing is right now, like these next 2 games that we got going into the bye, like we can either be in a decent spot if we win those games, or we could be screwed. And if you go in having lost,
let me ask you this while you're on that. If let's say we do lose the next 2 games, let's say we lose the next 3 games, so we're 1-3. We have our bye. I think our bye week's week 5. So we lose this game. We're going to lose to the Ravens next week. And then
San Fran after the bye.
We have a bye, and then San Fran. Let's say we lose. We go 1-4.
Right.
But then let's say the second half against San Francisco, Deshaun looks I don't think he's ever going to look like he did in Houston. But let's just say he looks above average. Do you think that we can actually rattle off wins and make the playoffs?
Yes, you can. But at that point there, you've lost 2 divisional games against probably, like right now, obviously, the Bengals aren't playing Bengals football, but you have the Pittsburgh, who already has a potential tiebreaker, especially if you lose to him again. If you lose to the Ravens,
Well, I guess what I'm saying is you're not gonna lose if we lose Tennessee, Baltimore, San Francisco, which the way we're playing right now could very easily happen. So we lose the next 3 games. That puts us at 1-4, right?
Right.
1-4. So after that, the schedule gets pretty easy. After San Fran, we got Indy, Seattle, Arizona, then Baltimore again. So if we lose 4 games in a row, that would put us into the Indy game. If he looks good in the San Francisco game and we lose a tight one or something like that, but he looks good, I think we could go on a run. See, that's why I feel like I'm being doom and gloom, and I kind of am.
Yeah.
Because I just don't see it getting any better. Like, he looks worse now than he did last week in the bad weather. And this was good weather.
Right.
Granted, I mean, it's Pittsburgh. But still, if Deshaun Watson is going to be what we need him to be, he's got to win that game. That is the game. You lose Nick Chubb, you're freaking... He's the guy that they put on Monday Night Football. He was the guy that they showed.
Yeah.
It wasn't Deshaun Watson.
Right.
It was him and Garrett.
Yep.
And Nick Chubb is the face of the franchise. Even now, he's hurt. He is still the face of the franchise.
And Miles, yeah.
Until Nick Chubb is the face of the franchise. Miles is like second fiddle. Nationally, everybody loves Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
Not everybody loves Miles Garrett. So you lose the face of your franchise, and then you're going to go out. He's got to grab the bull by the balls and take. He's got to win that game. And it was an epic fail. I mean, that could be, other than the first game he played last year, that's the worst quarterback play I've ever seen from a Cleveland Browns quarterback. And I've seen some shit. But that is the worst because he single-handedly lost that game. There's not another game that I can think of where I can say that. Even when Baker was at his worst and threw 4 picks, at no point in that game did I think, we have a chance to win this game. Because he played like crap. The defense played like crap. He played like crap. Our receivers weren't open. Our line wasn't blocking. In this game, Deshaun Watson, if we'd have just, in the fourth quarter, took a knee and punted every possession, we win the game.
Yeah. They had 7 yards of total offense in the fourth quarter.
Negative 7 yards of total offense.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And we win the game, and everybody's like, well, Deshaun played like shit, but we got to win. That's all that matters, right? Well, the defense played great. I wish I'd have seen that a couple times last year. We'd have made the playoffs. We could have won the Super Bowl last year with this defense.
Yeah.
The way our offense was playing with Jacoby. So it's the same freaking, if it's not the same offense, because it's Deshaun Watson, so we tweaked everything. And from what I've heard, him, Stefanski, and
Alex Van Pelt
went into a war room and came out with all these cool plays. So we should be running an offense that he loves. And is he making checks at that's a whole nother, is he making checks at the line of scrimmage? If he is, he's doing a piss poor job of that. So they maybe need to take that off of his plate and say, run the play that we call.
Well, that's another part of it too. That he's not, I mean, I'm not going to give him any excuses, but one of his roles in Houston was he would set the protection, and Bill Callahan has the line do that. So that might be something that is foreign to him, making him feel uncomfortable. I don't know. But Deshaun just needs to play better. There needs to be some cohesion between him and the line, because if I'm DeJuan Jones, or not Jed played pretty rough, but like a lot of those guys, a lot of those sacks, I'd be like looking back at Deshaun and be like, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, that's pretty easy to see, and like it feels like he doesn't have touch of the flow and stuff. Like, pocket awareness, a lot of it is intangibles. It's feel. And it feels like he is just like blind to it right now. And granted, okay, it is Pittsburgh. Their defense line is good, but they did that to us without Hayward. Like, if Hayward had been there, we wouldn't. Honestly, that might have been better because we would have just never thrown the ball at all because they would have had 10 sacks instead of, what, did they have 6?
I don't know.
So
They had too many.
Yes, and it's frustrating to see. I'm hopeful that he can turn it around. But any more things you want to talk about that game?
I want to give props to the corners. They played great.
None of them got over 70 PFF.
Yeah, PFF sucks.
Dude, I don't get it.
You can't, no. I was listening to a radio station today, and they were talking about that. And PFF, I don't know what they're watching. I watch the games, and you can tell who's sucking. Everybody knows it. You can tell with your eyes. I don't need to look at statistics and watch the game 100 times and break every single play down to know that if it, in all honesty, if it wasn't for because they were getting rid of the ball so quick, if it wasn't for our corners, we may have gotten blown out in that game. They couldn't run the ball. But if their receivers were open at all, they're going to win that game hands down. I mean, Pickett didn't play great. There wasn't much difference between Pickett and Deshaun's play, really, other than Pickett looked way more comfortable, and he got his ass beat. I mean, he took some shots. He took one shot right in the freaking chest from, it might have been Harris or...
I think it was Maurice Hurst.
It might have been. It was somebody. They crushed him.
Yeah.
And he delivered the ball. And granted, it wasn't a great pass, but I mean, he was getting crushed when he threw the ball. And if his receivers were even halfway open, they'd have blown us out.
Oh, yeah.
But our defense played great. Like, that's a Super Bowl caliber defense. If our offense, namely, by that I'm saying our quarterback, would get his head out of his ass, we could be a good team. But until that happens, we're trash. And it doesn't matter how good your defense is. If you can't score points. I mean, we scored points on offense, evidently. I mean, it was, what was the score? 26 to 22.
Yep.
So we scored 22 points, but I mean, that was, what was that, 3 field goals? We missed a field goal. I mean, okay, we scored points, but in all honesty, Deshaun didn't really have much to do with it.
No. I mean, even the pick that we got with early on with Delpit didn't result in points.
It didn't result in nothing.
Right. And
field goal.
He missed that field goal, didn't he?
No.
That was the one he missed?
No, that was
the first 43-yarder?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think you're right, because Delpit did that very early. But that's the thing. It sucks is, in hindsight, if Delpit didn't lose his feet there and ran that in for a touchdown,
we won the game. Yeah.
So, all in all, I would say yes. I'm glad that you brought that up because the defense definitely deserves its flowers. It's playing out of its mind. I don't know what's going on with PFF because all of I think the highest graded players on our defense were Miles, Delpit, and Maurice Hurst, which Maurice Hurst looked like a freak when he was on the field. But unless if they're seeing things that I can't see or they have metrics that I am not aware of, I think Dalvin Tomlinson was our lowest rated defense tackle, and he looks amazing. So put whatever you want to into those stocks, but that defense is nuts, and it's a shame that the offense couldn't pick them up and help them even a little bit. They ended up giving up, 13 points?
12.
12 points. There you go.
Yeah.
So
they gave up 12 points. Their defense outscored their offense.
Yeah. So I think that if you give up 12 points in today's NFL, you should win every single game.
If we run the ball the first play instead of throw it to our third string tight end, we win the game.
Yep. And then if Jedwell's blocks at all, we win the game. There's so many different factors that need to be cleaned up, but
See, I couldn't even. I didn't watch that play on the old 22 because
it was in the fourth, right?
Yeah, I didn't need to. That
I watched it several times and it was bad.
the whole offensive line played bad.
Yeah,
and I don't know if that's because Chubb went out and they were deflated. I don't know.
there had to have been an element of that because they didn't look that bad early on. Like Chubb looked like a beast, like always.
Well, yeah, but he was getting hit in the backfield. I mean, he was being Nick Chubb. I don't know. I think. Oh yeah, they got Kareem Hunt today, so we'll get to see that little bowling ball running around. I kind of glad he's back.
I am glad he's back. I don't know how that translates. Like if that's the last time I saw Kareem Hunt in a Browns uniform, he was kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It kind of felt like.
He knew he was done here. I mean, I can't really even blame him, and he wasn't getting a whole lot of
touches.
Yeah.
I am excited to see him have a starter's workload.
He's not going to be the starter.
You don't think?
That's what they said. Ford's going to be their lead back.
Well, that's a mistake.
Well, I mean, Kareem hasn't played yet either.
Well, no, I'm saying maybe not this week, but say 2 weeks from now. You don't think he's going to be the starter?
I don't know. I don't know. Dude, it's Stefanski. I don't know. I don't know anything anymore about this team.
Okay. Well,
because after watching the play calling of that game and the way our offense performed and nothing really changed from game 1 when they struggled to game 2 when they struggled, from last season when they struggled. Dude, I don't know. I mean, we're throwing the ball to our third string tight end on the first play of the freaking game. Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me right now? I wanted to jump through that TV and choke that son of a bitch. Like, come on, get your head out of your ass. Run the damn ball, Stefanski.
Yep. Well, that was our take on the games, or the game this weekend, or Monday. Obviously, not the best. Hopefully, we can rebound a little bit in Tennessee. Are we home or away? I think we're at Tennessee, right?
We're home.
Oh, we are home. Okay. So we get another home game. Hopefully, we can rebound and have average quarterback play. I think maybe would win that game. So hopefully we can see that, or hopefully better. But we're going to take a break here, and when we come back, we're going to talk about that Tennessee game.
Sorry, people. I'm just depressed.
All right, we'll be right back. You're listening to the Chillen with the Dawgs podcast. Our episodes go live Friday mornings. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and a whole bunch more podcasting apps in the future. Thanks for listening to us. We highly, highly appreciate it. You can follow me on socials. It's Justice Garber, pretty much anywhere you look. And then you can follow and rate the podcast on the podcasting apps. All right, let's get back into the action. Welcome back to the Chillen with the Dawgs podcast. So we're going to get a little bit in here to the Tennessee game coming up this week. Dad says he doesn't have a lot to say about it. I think I do. If you want to start, go ahead.
Okay, I'll start. I look at Tennessee's offense. It's not great. They got a decent receiver in D-Hop. He's kind of above. I wouldn't say he's
aging.
Yeah, he's not a great receiver anymore, but he's very good. I would put him on the line of Amari Cooper. So if we're going to match up offenses, if we're going to match up offenses, our receivers pretty equal to theirs. Our running back now below theirs. Our offensive line
way below theirs.
Right now below theirs. Our quarterback right now way below theirs. Our defense right now 100 times better than theirs right now, but we're not playing our offense, we're playing their offense. And that's about all I got to say about that.
Well, I just want to inform the listeners as well. If you're hearing some dings and stuff here and there, some noises that sound like someone slamming their fists on the table, Dad gets very animated when he's talking Brown, so that's all that
that's
is.
Exactly what happened.
But yeah, I think that if I'm matching up offenses, first off, I'll just get this out of the way. I think our defense is heads and tails better than their defense. They have great defensive pieces. Simmons is one of the best defensive tackles in football, in my opinion. Arden Key is very good as an outside linebacker. I'm not sure exactly which defense they play, but it seemed like he was a stand-up outside linebacker, but he was a pass rusher. And then outside of that, they have I forget how to pronounce his name, but I think it's Bayard. He's a very good safety. They have good pieces, but I don't think that they're anything to be too frightened by.
One thing I forgot to say: coaching, theirs is better than ours
by far, in my opinion. At least head coach. Yeah, I like Schwartz. But Vrabel's defense is good too. Vrabel, in my opinion, is in the upper echelon of coaches in the league. I love him. But offensively, how I think it breaks down, I think Coop and D-Hop is very close. I think Coop, at this point in both of their careers, I think Coop does have a little bit of an edge.
I don't.
Maybe. Well, I think that they're different kinds of receivers. But after that, I'm not very high on Burks. I think that, if you want to put DPJ or Elijah Moore there, although I haven't seen much from Elijah Moore.
That's because he can't complete a pass to him.
That might be a wash. But outside of that, once you get to the third and further back, I think that our receiving core definitely takes it. They don't have a ton of depth there. Our tight end, Njoku, in my opinion, is better. Our O-line, in my opinion, I mean, maybe not based off of last week's game, but our O-line historically is much better. They did get Peter Skronsky. I think he's an interior lineman. He's pretty good, but I think our O-line is definitely better. They don't have Taylor Lewan anymore.
He was trash anyway.
Well, he couldn't stay healthy, but
I shouldn't say trash. That's kind of personal. I shouldn't do that, but he was average at best.
Yeah,
on his best day.
So offensively, I don't know. Maybe Ryan Tannehill is better than Deshaun. And that is sad if that is the case.
He's playing better.
He is. He really is. He actually has played pretty decent.
No, his first game he sucked.
Well, yeah.
But last week he had like a 70% completion.
No, that's what I had meant to say. He looked pretty good last week against the Chargers defense.
The Chargers defense isn't bad,
right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's what worries me is that they beat the Chargers and the Chargers' offense looks way more capable than ours does. Now, their defense isn't what ours is, but, if I had the Chargers win that game last week and they didn't, so that does worry me a little bit. But this matchup, I feel like I don't want to put the cart before the horse and give you my prediction, but there is no reason why the Browns shouldn't win this game. And honestly, in my opinion, win it pretty handily. The roster that we have, there's no reason why we shouldn't boat race this team. But, how it played out last week kind of has me a little bit skeptical and very worried for this game. Is it a 1 o'clock game?
Yep.
I think that might benefit us a little bit, getting out of the spotlight. I think that was
everybody played. Everybody except our O-line and our quarter. Which, going back to it, I don't know if our O-line played as bad as what it looked, dude.
I'm thinking Deshaun made the O-line look worse.
I do. That's exactly what I think. And, I mean, yeah, okay, Jed Wills, maybe he played bad. I don't know. Because our quarterback looked like he hadn't played since JV at high school.
The problem, I don't want to get too much back into the Steelers game, but the problem,
I can't get over it. I'm sorry, I just can't get over it.
You see him make the decisions that he's making are always a second or two late. Like when he's getting ready to start running, you see so many of those sacks come from him falling, like getting tackled from behind. Like a lot of those sacks were them having looped all the way around and getting him from behind. That should never, ever, ever happen. He's making the decision to run.
He should throw the freaking ball away or run.
Right. You and I was explaining this to you. I'll preface this by saying I didn't, like Dad said, he played O-line at a very, very low level. I played quarterback at a very, very low level. And when you get through your first progression, your second progression, you maybe can get a third progression, but once you know that third progression is gone, you got to be doing something, either getting rid of the ball or running the ball. And it seems like he's waiting just a second or two to see if something's still there, reassuring himself that, the play isn't over yet. And then by the time that happens, he's already screwed.
He didn't do that in game 1.
Yeah.
When he decided he was going, he went.
You're right,
in game 1.
Which I don't get.
In game 2, and I know we're going back, and we're not supposed to do that segment. We're supposed to talk about Tennessee, but it does. Everything that you say about Tennessee-Cleveland matchup right now doesn't matter. It does not matter.
Yeah.
If he comes out and looks like he did against Pittsburgh.
You're right. Yeah.
So everything that you say, matchups and all of that, I agree. We originally, when we started this podcast, you had the Browns winning this game 38-10. I had them winning 38-12. Last week, I had the Browns winning 42-15. If Deshaun Watson would have just kneeled the freaking ball, I'd have been high on the offensive production that Pittsburgh put out. But the fact that he was their best player made it 26-22, which screwed me. It screwed me last week. Every bet I made when Chubb went down screwed me, and then the Browns screwed me because of freaking Deshaun Watson. So to talk about Tennessee, I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't matter because we have Deshaun Watson. And if he is going to play like the Deshaun Watson that I've watched over the last 8 games, we stand a snowball's chance in hell right now. Because unless our defense comes out, which I can guarantee you this is how it's going to go. Put it on the board and pen. Tannehill's going to drop back. He's probably going to be in shotgun a lot. He's not even going to move, and he's going to get rid of the ball. Or they're going to try to run. They're going to try to run, and they're going to try to run, and it's not going to go anywhere. But if they complete passes, it'll be because it's like that. Tannehill hits his foot, ball comes out. Just like Kenny Pickett did. Now, Tannehill sucks, but he's better than Kenny Pickett. So, unless our defense is going to pick 6 and scoop and score on his ass, we are screwed. And that's the only way I can look at it, because I have no proof otherwise. I watched Deshaun regress. He went from a game where everyone's saying we played in a monsoon. Okay, I wasn't there. On TV, I saw sideways rain. Okay, maybe it was crappy. Okay. But he played better in that game than he did last week.
Right.
So what leads me to believe going against Tennessee, even if they suck, is going to be any different than what I watched Monday night?
Yeah. No, and there's so many. You're right. Honestly, it feels like a moot point to even really discuss the matchups and stuff like that, because the only factor that really matters is, can Deshaun play average quarterback football? If you do that, you win.
That's ridiculous. I have a $230 million below average quarterback. Are you kidding me right now?
But you know what's funny is, I am curious, and I have no idea if this. I've never heard of a top 5 paid quarterback playing average football. Can you remember anybody who's been paid like that? Like Kirk Cousins has never played that poorly.
No, Kirk Cousins has always been statistically above average.
Right.
Like if there's 32 teams, above average is like 10 to 15.
I want to preface what I was saying is, I think Kirk Cousins is a really, really good quarterback. I actually am much higher on Kirk Cousins than other people. What I was trying to think of is, are there quarterbacks that get paid well and just completely don't
suck?
Yes.
Kyler Murray.
Okay, that might be
Russell Wilson.
Oh, there you go.
And you know what? Right now, I take both of those over our guy.
Yeah, I don't know about Russ.
Dude, he sucks right now.
Yeah.
But he don't look as bad as ours does.
That's true.
I mean,
that's sad, isn't it? That's crazy.
If I go back through and watch every game, which I've watched a lot of the condensed versions of most of these games, there's not many quarterbacks that I wouldn't take right now over Deshaun Watson.
Mac Jones.
I'd take him.
I think I would too.
And that's sad.
Yeah.
I can remember the really big show that's on ESPN 850 when Baker had his good year. We went to the playoffs. They were talking about how they need to sign him. They need to sign him. And Gerard Cherry was like, they need to pay him $300 million. He looks great. He looks great. He looks great. I agreed with him. And then the next year he comes back, torn labrum, looks like trash. It's a shit sandwich. And we cut him, and we bring in this guy. And in all honesty, if you go back and watch the games that Baker played in his last year here, he looked bad. But he didn't look this bad. Like, I think if we had Baker yesterday or Monday, we win that game.
Baker's 2-0.
Well, that's neither here nor there.
I'm just saying, like...
That's neither here nor there. Baker could take a big deuce next week and throw 5 picks. I mean,
right.
I'm not saying Baker Mayfield's the answer.
No. I'm just saying the guy who everybody's hating on for the past 2 seasons.
Well, he did not look good last year, man. He looked like trash last year.
He did,
too.
but who was he playing for? Well, Carolina. Like,
yeah, but
and then he didn't look like trash when he played for LA.
Yeah, he did. He had 1 game. That was
yeah. But I don't know. It is hard to really like try to put together something like a matchups or anything like that because on paper the Browns.
This should be we should win 38-12 against this team.
Yes, easily. But I just you have the massive question mark of who is Deshaun Watson going to be this week, and I'm just waiting for him to resemble even a sliver of what people think he is. Like I think we do need to sit down and watch some of that film from Houston and really digest it because I do remember a lot of great plays, but I don't know how he was week in and week out. If he,
well, I know his time in Houston when he was playing, he was a slow starter.
Yes, yeah.
That was a thing, and I get it, but he didn't look like this. I mean, slow starter. I mean, he looks like he should be on the practice squad. And in all honesty, Jordan Love playing for Green Bay sat behind Aaron Rodgers for 3 years, 4 years,
right?
And he looks like I'd take him. I would trade even up right now for that guy. I'd take Justin Fields right now.
Yeah,
because I think everyone says he sucks and can't throw. Well, who the hell's he throwing to? He ain't got the roster that we do.
No.
And I think you could pluck a quarterback off of any team. C.J. Stroud come to our team right now, we'd probably look like the freaking Buckeyes. Probably not, but I don't know, man.
It is kind of weird how Deshaun Watson, a 3-time Pro Bowler, does look kind of like a rookie right now. And some of the rookies even look better than he does. I don't know. I honestly am kind of excited for this game, just to see what it's like because maybe the Pittsburgh's defense is just that good. I don't think it is.
It's not that
and they
good.
didn't even have Minka for most of that game.
Yeah, they did. He was only out maybe 2 series.
Okay. Well, even so, I don't think that. I don't know. That's a whole tangent I don't want to get into, but yeah, as far as the Tennessee game goes, I still have, I'm the optimist. I still have faith that we can come out of there with a win because we should. Everything says that we should, even with Chubb going down. And I know that is a massive blow, but even without Chubb, our offense is better than their offense. If Deshaun plays average football, that's it. And for me, average football is a 62 completion percentage, 220 yards, and maybe a touchdown or 2. That's it. That's all you need. And
well, I'll say it like this: if Deshaun can give me 50% completions on let's say 25 passes, give me 50% completions with no picks or fumbles.
50% isn't even NFL. Like that, you shouldn't be in the NFL if you're a 50% passer.
Well, then he shouldn't be in the NFL because he's that right now.
Like Anthony Richardson, well, he's doing much better, or he has done a little bit better this season. But Anthony Richardson in college, everyone was talking about how poor he was as a completion percentage, and he had a 53. I think that, and maybe that's above average what I had said, but I have a question for you. If Deshaun Watson goes out in this game and goes, let's say 19 for 28 with 2 touchdowns, an interception, and 220 yards passing, do you think that we win the game?
It depends.
If our defense plays as it has been. Yeah, I think that wins you the game. Yes. And that is easy. That should be a drop in the bucket for him.
Let me give you Deshaun's stats right now. 2 games in. 38 of 69 for 55% completion percentage. Yards per game, 194. His average is 5.6 yards per attempt. He's got 2 TDs, 2 interceptions, and a QB rating of 69.1.
And that's not 69.1 is not good. But
he's got a 55% completion rate.
Did that factor in his fumbles? He had 2 fumbles as well. Did he have one?
Hang on. I got to get back to it. He's got 3 fumbles.
So that's 5 turnovers in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he can't win that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, those have to get cleaned up. Which hopefully, I'm hoping that is just, it's the start of the season. These are the first couple weeks. You don't know yet who you are and stuff, because everyone always says that you don't know who the team is until you get through the first quarter of the season. So I'm hoping that they're ironing out the wrinkles right now and this stuff gets cleaned up. But if this is who he is, then it might be the worst.
Some shit.
Yes.
Some deep shit.
Yeah. And
I have a feeling, and I hate to say this, you remember last year when he was going to start, me, you, and Ethan are sitting there watching the game, and I said, guys, this is going to be bad. I have that feeling again, and I don't like it. I just don't like it. And I hate that I have that feeling, but everything that I've seen over the last 8 games isn't looking good, man. It just isn't. And like I said, there's no excuses now. But the bad part is, if Watson doesn't, let's just say he plays like Baker did at Baker's worst, which he's not playing that way right now. No. I mean, we won games with Baker Mayfield at his worst.
Right.
Like, we won games handily with Baker at his worst. We cannot win games. It took a monsoon to beat Cincinnati, in my opinion, after watching that last game. And if he plays a little bit better than he played against Pittsburgh, we're in some deep trouble, man. Because we've got, I mean, you're playing other NFL teams. Our roster is top 5 roster in the league. And we could be a bottom 5 team. And we don't have a first round pick this year.
Well, I honestly, I can't see us being a bottom 5 team, not with that defense. I mean, Deshaun can give up, I don't know, maybe.
Dude, I can't see him playing like that every game. If they do, what worries me is if he does. Like, how long's the leash? Like, how many games are they going to give before they're like, well, you know what? Like, are they going to give him the whole season and then be like, well, we'll try this again next year?
No. And
then it comes out next year and it's the same. Are they going to sit him down? Like, I don't even know how you fix it. That's what's scary. That's what's the scary part. How do you fix it?
Well, this is how I would fix it. First off, say we start off 3 and 5, halfway through the season. Like, that's, in my opinion, incredible underachievement considering after San Fran, the schedule gets a lot lighter, right? So say we, like we were saying earlier, lose the next 3. You're 1-4, and then you get
Indy at Indy.
that should be a win.
You're at Seattle.
That should be a win, but that's a good team. And
then you have Arizona at home.
All right, so that's, what week is that? 9?
9, week 9.
Okay, so let's say that's the halfway point of the season. So for me, I personally think that we should win this game. The Baltimore game, I don't know, because Baltimore is overachieving in my opinion. I didn't see them being this good, which I still don't think they've played anybody.
Well, they ain't played anybody,
right? But say you lose those. Say you lose 2 of the next 3. So then what are you? You're
2 of the next 3,
right?
So
you're 2-3.
You got Tennessee, the Ravens, and San Francisco, and they're all at home too. So these are home games you're talking about.
Right. So you're 2-3. And then I think Indy's a win, 3-3.
You got 4 away games after you play San Francisco at home. You got Indy, Seattle. No, I lied. You got Indy at Indy, Seattle at Seattle. Then you're at home against Arizona. Then you play Baltimore on the road.
Right. Yeah. I feel like the schedule loosens up there for a little bit, and then after Baltimore, I think it loosens up again.
Nope. You got Pittsburgh at home. Then you got Denver. Then you got the Rams, who just took the Niners to it.
I don't know how that happened.
I mean, we can talk about that later. That pissed me off too. Then you got the Jags. I mean, dude, you've got if you look at it as you're going to go 2-3 through the San Francisco game. Let's just say you get Indy and Seattle and Arizona. So now you're 5-3. Then you got Baltimore at Baltimore, which is tough.
Yeah.
Then you play Pittsburgh, who just beat us. Then you play Denver at Denver.
Right.
Mile High sucks to play in.
Right.
If Deshaun turns it around, like I said it before, I had us going 14-3 to start the season. But I was going from, well, Deshaun's got to be better, right? He's got to be at least average. I had us 14-3. You had us 13-5. Or 13-4.
Right.
I can't.
That's laughable now.
We can do advised or revised win total. But I can't.
No,
I can't do that and then watch football for the next 3 months because I would have us right now, maybe going 7-10.
Yeah.
If I sit down and look, I mean, we got the Bears. That should be a win, but I don't know. We got the Jets with no Aaron Rodgers now. That should be a win.
Yeah.
We got the Bengals. I mean, we own the Bengals, but if Watson plays like he did against Pittsburgh, there's no way in hell we're beating the Bengals on week 17 or 18. No way. And then you got Denver. That should be a win, but I mean, the Jags going from right now would beat us. The Texans we should win, but you got Pittsburgh, the Rams, the Jags, Baltimore. I mean,
yeah,
we'll be below 500 if I go from right now. Now, if we come out and everything looks good, or Watson looks average, Jesus Christ, I mean, we're talking about that guy being average would be great. Are you kidding me right now? Like, he was supposed to be the Messiah, come and save us, take us to the promised land.
And I still think that could be the case, but I feel like he's just pressing. He is pressing and trying to show his worth, and he doesn't have to do that. The thing is if you play within the offense and take the shots that are there and play with rhythm, those things happen by themselves.
So how do you justify if it doesn't turn around?
Also, I think don't mean to cuss. I think our play caller is shit right now.
Wait a minute. You just said out of your own mouth, if he plays within the offense, our offense is good enough to win games. So what you're
Okay,
saying?
I should rephrase that and say if you play within a normal offense that is somewhat intelligent and makes adjustments, then you win games. Like it is
I think when you watch the All-22, you won't say that.
based off of the play calling being bad.
There was guys open.
Oh,
Now, granted, when he's running around like a chicken,
head down, looking at line,
like a chicken with his head on cut off, it doesn't matter if they're open.
Right.
But I saw Kenny Pickett, who sucks, in my opinion. He's trash. I saw him stand in the pocket and take big shots and throw passes. He wasn't, and he was getting rushed as much, if not more, than our quarterback was.
Well, the thing is that if you, the thing, and I was talking to you about this earlier, I don't know if Deshaun Watson is seeing the field at all. Like, it seems like he's so worried about, like, that's the scariest thing about this game is he could be in his head and worried about these turnovers, worried about fumbling the ball, that he is watching the lineman, not looking downfield. That's a huge issue. And then on top of that, it was like I was telling you earlier. He needs to have his eyes downfield. And if he is on time, those fumbles, all those things aren't an issue anymore because he's making throws on time. And it was like we were talking about earlier. I think that he is struggling pre-snap because if he's taking this long, like you should see based off the defense, granted, they might be disguising things. But that that changes. Yes, but the thing is even if you're disguising things, as soon as the play happens and you see your hot route or who your first check is, that is going to tell you what defense they're in. And so from there, you should be able to process the defense and know where the ball should go or get rid of the ball. That I know it seems so fast.
No,
and
I understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is when you watch it again, it's not happening.
Well, that's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm saying.
Because he's in his head. I can tell you straight up right now, the only thing that you can say is he's in his head. Because if he's not, we're fucked.
Did you pay attention at all? Sorry, we were supposed to be talking about Tennessee, but I do have one question. Did you see them press our receivers much when you watched the All-22? Because I can't remember.
Yes and no.
Because the reason why I ask is because you can't. It's hard to play zone when you're being pressed. So that's another thing too. I was curious if they were playing a lot of man on us. What I saw a lot was them playing a lot of zone.
Well, they did in the before Chubb went out.
Right.
Once Chubb went out, they kind of backed off. Like they did press more.
Okay.
But not like we did. Like they didn't play that kind of. They were sending more guys. They were
right.
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I couldn't not watch Watson.
Right.
Because I watched the game live, and I saw him sucking. So I wanted to try to figure out why he was sucking. And I still don't understand why he was sucking.
It's hard watching that game and trying to evaluate it too, because as a fan watching it, it felt like a nightmare for a lot of it. Like, every time we got, it was so weird. You have watching the defense, you feel this joy and just so much excitement watching these guys go out, have fun, and all this, and then you flip it over to the other side of the ball, and it's like watching a nightmare. It was the weirdest feeling the entire time, and when I rewatched it again, it kept feeling like this back and forth, and obviously knowing the outcome of the game made it worse, but it is crazy how different the two sides of the ball feel right now. And the thing is Stefanski last year talked so much about complementary football, and why our team was struggling was because the defense wasn't playing complementary to the offense. And now it's the totally different, like, flips.
It's like watching the Guardians. You got good pitching and no hitting.
It is.
When you got good hitting, you got no pitching.
Or like the Cavs, when you have all these 3-point shooters, you can't play any defense. Stuff like that. It is crazy. And that's the thing, is that these people don't have to play two ways. You know, you should have right now perfect complementary football. If you're playing, I don't know, it is crazy.
Well, the worrisome part to me, I know we're supposed to be talking about Tennessee, but there's nothing you can say about that game because.
Well, this is our podcast. We can talk about whatever we want.
I get it, but I would love to sit down here and talk about Tennessee, but it doesn't matter. Like I said earlier, it doesn't matter. Because if Watson, I'll just say it like this. Like I said, I didn't have much to say about Tennessee, and this is why. It doesn't matter what the matchups are, what our defense does, what our special teams does. It doesn't matter if we have Cade York right now. It doesn't matter because until that guy plays average, and that's all I'm asking for crying out loud, is average. Don't play like a shit truck. Play average. That's all you got to do. Play average, and we win games. If he isn't able to do that, it doesn't matter what we do. What we talk about, anything. That is the biggest issue right now. Not Nick Chubb getting hurt. Not Nick Chubb getting hurt. But I'll be honest with you, I'd have rather Deshaun tore his ACL up than Nick Chubb.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think we could still win games with DTR.
I hate to say that, but I agree.
Like, I think when that happened, I told you, our season's over. Because you've got Nick Chubb was your security blanket. If you needed a first down, you hand him the ball, which for some reason Stefanski just doesn't do. That's one reason I started this little rant here. He did the same thing with Baker. Baker's got a torn labrum. He can't hardly throw. Everybody who watched him play knew he couldn't throw the ball downfield.
The announcers were even saying it. Like he was warming up on the thing, and they were giving the status. Oh well, now he's got this, and this, and he's still playing.
Right, and he couldn't throw the ball down the field. So what do? We line up instead of running the ball and taking quick hitters like you were talking about. He could throw a 10-yard slant all day.
Right.
He couldn't throw the ball 25 yards down the field. So what are we running? We're running go routes and post corners, and it's like, dude. Are you seeing what I'm seeing here? Like, Baker is crap right now. What are we doing? He did the same thing in that Steelers game. That's where I agree with you on the play call. But there were guys open. If Deshaun looks up and actually surveys the field and goes through his reads like he should, there's plays there.
I absolutely had to go back and watch the All-22 because talking about this makes me want to ask so many questions. Like, having watched it, and now we're recording this on a Wednesday, different than our normal Tuesday,
because we had a Monday night game.
Right. So it's been a couple of days since I've rewatched it, but a lot of the misses that I'm remembering are within like 13 to 25 yards.
He threw a pass. Elijah Moore is wide ass open on the left sideline, and that ball was 10 yards out of bounds.
Yes.
There was no way he could have caught it. He also threw, and I think Elijah Moore's 5'9".
Yeah.
Or something like that. He's not a big dude.
I think he's 5'8", actually.
So he was wide ass open again on the left sideline, and he missed it. Like, if it had been DPJ, it would have been a catch. But you're throwing to a 5'8" guy. So he's outstretched trying to keep his toes in, and he caught the ball, but he was so extended his foot came off.
Right.
He was wide open on five plays. He was only targeted on those 5 plays maybe 3 times. And I don't know what it is. There was a play he threw to Cooper over the middle where he had a guy, it might have been Tillman. I don't remember who the guy was.
I wish they would get him involved more too.
Cooper was running a crossing route. Deshaun had time on this play, and whoever the other guy was, I think it was Tillman, ran like a post corner.
Right.
And if he'd have pump faked to Cooper and threw that was 6.
Yep.
That guy was wide ass open. And he had time, but he rushed it to Cooper. It's just little stuff like that where I'll give Stefanski credit. There were guys open. Deshaun did not play well. And I don't know how else to say it other than, granted, if that route was supposed to go to the post corner guy or supposed to go to Amari, I don't know. But Amari was blanket covered. And it was a great pass. He hit him right in the chest. Amari screened the defender off, caught the ball, and instantly got tackled. Where if he'd have waited a half a heartbeat, whoever was running that post corner was wide ass open.
Yeah.
And whoever was guarding him bit on the post. He was wide ass open.
Well, yeah, I don't want to pile on Stefanski too much. There was just...
Why? We're piling on Deshaun.
No, I know. And I agree. Like, I obviously don't always want to pile on these guys because we are fans. We see it through the fan lens. But I watched Stefanski now, how many years has he been the play caller?
I think this is 4.
There are just times that I want to rip my hair out, especially after hearing everybody all the time talk about how amazing a play caller he is. The only person I remember last year, well, maybe last year is a little different, but the only person I ever hear talk about, like, hey, maybe Kevin Stefanski should give up play calling is like Mary Kay Cabot. Everybody else in the media always seems to just talk and rant and rave about how great a play caller is. No,
that's not true. I listen to all those people.
Are you talking about national media or are you talking about local?
I'm talking local people.
Well, national, everybody's like, oh, he is a great play caller. And I think they just don't watch our games.
Maybe they're saying something we're not.
Well, it's media, too. It's not like these are other coaches saying he has great play calling.
Because I don't see it. And in all honesty, this is the first year I've had the All-22. So
yeah,
I want to go back and watch some of these other games. Who the hell has that kind of time? I'm trying to watch all these games.
Right.
And it's like...
Maybe that can be our off-season homework.
Yeah. But he just... I'll go back to it. To the year that we went to the playoffs, I didn't like his play calling then.
Right.
And we made the playoffs.
I actually didn't mind it as much.
Next year, Baker was hurt. And he wasn't just one little injury. He had a torn freaking labrum. I don't know. I've never torn my labrum. But I got a feeling it's kind of like when I separated my sternum, I climb trees for a living if no one listening knows that. And when I separated my sternum and had to climb trees, it about killed me.
Right.
Now, I imagine as a quarterback, and the way Baker throws, his footwork is typically always spot on. But if you watch him throw the ball, he takes his left hand and he looks just like a pitcher.
Yep.
He rips that left elbow and he lets it rip.
Nope. What happened was I know exactly how that feels because when my shoulder is like that, it feels like your arm is ripping off. And if you're in the throwing motion, that is going to a lot of the time.
That's why it was sailing balls.
Sailing balls. That's exactly it. You release early because you wince.
Right.
And so that was just a stupid management play call by Kevin Stefanski. I can't believe he did that.
Well, no. Where I was going with it is I watched him that whole season. I don't know why. I don't know if they wanted him to look bad, so they had a good reason to make the trade that they made.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because the whole fan base the year prior was like, sign Baker Mayfield. Not the whole fan base, but a pretty good chunk of it.
Yeah.
And then he came out, he gets hurt, and all the Odell Beckham crap, and it's like they were making him play. Granted, he wanted to play. But if I'm the coach and I'm watching my quarterback cost us games, the same thing is happening with Deshaun right now. I'm watching our quarterback literally hand the game away.
Right.
And we're going to keep putting him out there. We're going to keep putting him out there. Well, that falls on Stefanski. But how can you fire him if that was, because I kind of think that was an organizational move. I think that came from the top down. If you want to get rid of him, play him. He's got to look bad because the fans are they're gonna shit a brick. So we need to play him. He needs to look bad. I don't want to pay him. Whatever the reason is, I don't know. I don't even care anymore. He's not my quarterback anymore. But I watched our OC run that guy out there. And our head coach, who just happens to be the OC, allowed it to happen. If that was my team, Case Keenum would have been playing until Baker was right.
Right.
Because regardless, our roster wasn't that bad then. Our defense wasn't great. But our offense, I mean, we played Kansas City in the playoffs with that guy. Should have beat him. Baker was the best player on our team in that game. If everybody wants to argue with me about it, go back and watch it. Chubb didn't look good. The defense didn't look good. But Baker looked like Joe Montana. The next year, we play Kansas City. Baker looked damn good. Our defense gave that game away. Then he gets hurt, and he looks like a shit truck, and we just keep marching him out there.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of people say that he gave that game away because he threw the pick to end the game, but that wasn't the case. They shouldn't have been in that situation because the defense couldn't stop anybody, and he was just kind of throwing it up to make a play.
So if people are going to say that about him,
right?
Why, when I say something about Deshaun Watson doing that, they make excuses for him? Like, we were ahead in the game. He gave the game away. And they're like, well, he's just not right. Well, okay. Yet Baker, and I know I sound like a Baker bro because I kind of was. He was, whatever. But you can't sit here, and I do the same thing. I listen to these guys on the radio say Jacoby Brissett he wins one and loses two. He wins one and he loses two. And I understand people are like, wins and losses are a quarterback stat because they dictate the game. That is not true. It's not true. I don't care what anybody says. There's 11 people on offense, 11 people on defense, and the whole coaching staff. It takes 22 people to win a game. It takes 22 people to lose a game. And when our defense is the 11 people that are giving up the leads all the time, which is what was happening then. Now our defense isn't the problem. Our quarterback right now is the problem. And everybody sees it now. At least the guys on the radio that I listen to every day. They're constantly on Deshaun carrying his water. And it's like, okay, because you liked him and he was a top 5 quarterback at one point in his career. He's not that right now.
No.
So if you're going to hold one guy's feet to the fire, make it even across the board. Jacoby Brissett did nothing last year but succeed. Our defense, if he'd have had the defense that we have right now, we'd have been, let's see, it was week 11, week 12 when Deshaun came back. We would have been 10-2.
Mm-hmm.
Or 9-2 if we'd have had the defense we have right now. But because our defense gave away the Jets game and all these other games, everyone's like, oh, he wins one and he loses two. He didn't lose those games. Well, he averaged 28 points a freaking game.
Oh, never mind. I was trying to think of why we would have 2 losses because
Miami, right? They smoked us.
Well, yeah, their defense held our offense.
Yeah, that game they smoked us. Our defense sucked then.
Our defense now might not be like that.
That team's pretty damn good. But
it is.
We lost to them and we lost to New England. New England, I think we might have still lost, but it was at least a good game. Would have been a good game. But I don't think we'd have beat Miami. So I'm saying we'd be like 8-2.
Yeah. All right. So
sorry about not doing the Tennessee thing. Like I said, I don't think it matters until Deshaun figures out what he's going to be.
And truly, that's the case. I mean, you can make all the different matchup things, all these different things, but none of it matters if Deshaun doesn't play
average.
And
that, oh God, I can't believe I'm saying that.
I know. So we're going to take a little break here. Coming up, we're going to maybe briefly just talk about the other games that happened this week, but most of it's going to be kind of previewing the next week in the NFL. So We'll get back to you here in a second. You've been listening to Chillen with the Dawgs. You're listening to the Chillen with the Dawgs podcast. Our episodes go live Friday mornings. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, and a whole bunch more podcasting apps in the future. Thanks for listening to us. We highly, highly appreciate it. You can follow me on socials. It's Justice Garber, pretty much anywhere you look. And then you can follow and rate the podcast on the podcasting apps. All right, let's get back into the action. Welcome back to Chilling with the Dawgs. So last segment we were talking a little bit about Tennessee, a little tiny bit, because, that Steelers game just
The old man kind of got crazy on you.
Got a little crazy on me, but we're going to briefly run through these games that happened the past week, kind of do one thought we had on each of them, and then we're going to preview these upcoming games kind of similarly, just give it a little bit, but we'll make this fast for you guys. We've already taken up probably too much of your time. All right, so if you want to start us
First
out.
game, Minnesota at Philly.
So that was our Thursday night game.
Yep, and the final was 34-28 Philly.
For me, honestly, Philly scored 34 points. I feel like they kind of didn't look as sharp as I thought they would, and the Vikings offense kind of surprised me. So I think that was a good win to go 2-0 for the Eagles. I thought they left a little bit more to be desired, and I thought that the Vikings looked like they didn't go down without a fight.
My one thought is if Minnesota had our defense, they're a Super Bowl team.
There you go.
There we go.
Oh, and they need a no-line, too, other than that.
Do they? They scored 28 points.
Yeah.
None of those were defensive.
Oh, well, that's true, but Kirk Cousins was getting smacked. And that Eagles defense that D-line is stupid.
Yeah. So. Okay, next game, Green Bay at Atlanta. Atlanta won that game 25-24.
Yep, and that game, I feel like my one thought is, whoa, I did not expect that. They're at 2-0 now, right? Atlanta?
Atlanta is, yeah.
Right. So, did not expect that. I thought Green Bay had that in the bag, and I think they led for most of that game, didn't they?
I don't know. I don't remember, to be honest with you.
Well, that game didn't go the way I thought it would. I thought Green Bay would end up winning that game. And I don't think that Jordan Love played a bad game there. So my thought...
No, Jordan Love played a good game.
My thought is that we maybe didn't talk enough about that game the prior week. I think that was a really good game.
Well, if you think about it, it shouldn't have been.
Right.
But Atlanta made it a game. So, but their quarterback played well.
My one thought I should say is Bijan is a dog. And he
is good.
Yes,
he's
very good.
And he was shot last year, right?
No. That's the guy from Washington, Brian Robinson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is a dog as well.
Yeah, he's pretty good too. Okay. Yeah, my one thought on that was I never saw that coming. I thought Green Bay was going to smoke them. I had Green Bay winning 32-17.
Yeah.
And I was wrong, as I was pretty much on everything this week. So,
yeah.
Next one's Chicago at Tampa Bay.
Chicago, my one thought is sad. Like I've said prior, Chicago's my second favorite team. Love Justin Fields. But, man, that was rough. And I think that second one thought is Tampa Bay looks pretty decent and could win that division.
They might. That was my thought.
Wouldn't that be cool if, Baker ends up winning that division? That'd be sick.
I root for Baker.
No, me too.
I love Baker. His attitude. I don't like things that he's done.
Right.
And I don't like the way that some things he did here in Cleveland. But other than that, I root for him. But I think they're going to win that division because, well, we'll get to New Orleans later. I don't know what the hell's going on there, but okay. The next game, which I did not see this one either, was Seattle at Detroit. Seattle won 37-31 in overtime.
Yeah, that game. I have said before, I think that Seattle is going to be pretty good this year. I just thought that Detroit also is going to be pretty good this year.
Well, that was a good game.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to. Is I think that was a really good game with two teams that I have high expectations for this year. Just so happened that Seattle came out on top, and I think that they just have a ton of weapons. That receiving core, that trio is nuts, and Kenneth Walker is nuts.
Yeah, I was surprised about this. I thought Detroit would win that game pretty easily. But I mean, I'm pretty sure that Goff threw a pick six, so I mean that kind of hurt him. We know all about that, so we'll go to the next one. Vegas at Buffalo. Buffalo won 38-10.
That game went as it should.
Yeah.
I think that's all you really got to say about that.
Yep. Josh Allen looked good again.
Yep.
Next game was the Chargers at Tennessee. This one surprised me.
This one definitely surprised me and made me even more fearful for this week.
Yes.
Really, the Chargers didn't play a bad game. I don't think. I mean, they didn't. We watched that game.
Well, they were without Austin Eckler. He
Right.
didn't play, which I think that hurt them.
It
Their
definitely
running game
did.
was not good. Their running game was not good. But, I mean, I watched that game, and Tennessee's defense, I know what you say about them, but for a bunch of undrafted free agents, they look pretty freaking good against a pretty good offense. At least that's what everybody thinks. I mean, that receiving core that they have and the Chargers have, it's not bad.
Yeah, when we were watching, I told you every single one of those guys looks like a mammoth out there.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And Tennessee, I mean,
they have like 5 guys that are like 6'4" plus.
This is the difference between Tennessee and Cleveland. Back to Cleveland, which I hate keep doing this. Tennessee has a coach who has established a mindset that no matter what, we're going to be tough, physical, and we're going to beat people up. And that's what Schwartz is doing with our defense. But their offense does the same thing. And there's no give up. There's no give up in them at all.
Culture.
Yeah, and
what's the Browns' culture?
Right now, I have no idea.
Yeah. All right, next one.
Next one. Baltimore at Cincinnati. This one didn't really I'll start here. Baltimore won. Everyone, if you've listened to this, knows I think Lamar Jackson blows. I know people don't like it when I say this, but he looked pretty good for a running back. But if you actually watch him, he's throwing a wide ass open guys. There's not many guys that he throws to that are actually covered. I can't wait to see him play us. Because I want to see what our defense does to that offense. But he looks like he's throwing darts when he's throwing, if you really watch him. But I was surprised that Cincinnati didn't play better. And evidently, they're making excuses for Burrow. I guess he's hurt. So, their season's probably trash. They're probably done. That's all I got.
I'm going to just echo basically what you said. I definitely think people are going to be upset at you for your Lamar Jackson stuff.
I don't care.
But that's okay. That's your opinion. And I think that Lamar is a great offensive weapon. And
he's a great running back. You're right.
Definitely leaves some things to be. If you actually look at it with a lens of watching a quarterback and how he delivers the football, it's not very elite. And I feel like a lot of people make him out to be an elite quarterback and passer, and that he continuously gets better. I don't see him get better. So, not to get off on a tangent on that, but I'm going to just echo what you said. I thought Cincinnati would come away there with a win. And honestly, neither team did anything that really impressed me, except for Baltimore winning. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. Next, Indy at Houston, which I thought was going to be the player inmate game of the week, but it was better than ours, if you ask me.
I think that was really. I mean, didn't Richardson get injured in that game?
Yeah, he went out with a concussion, but good old Gardner came in.
Right.
I'd take him over Deshaun right now too. By the way,
that game was surprisingly fun. I think Richardson before he went out had 2 rushing touchdowns. Yep. So my question is he going to be the new Cam Newton? His game reminds me a lot of his.
Yeah.
And I think
I've never even thought of that.
And I think that is very, very exciting.
But I haven't watched enough of it to.
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I think that was a fun game with 2 young teams.
2 rookies.
Yeah. So, and I'm excited to kind of see how that division plays out because they have a lot of young quarterbacks in that division.
Yep. Okay, next up, Kansas City at Jacksonville. This one surprised me, but not because of who won, but the score.
Yes.
17-9.
Yes, that was the biggest takeaway for me. Jacksonville never really got anything. From what I got to see of it, it looked like they moved the ball. Jacksonville moved the ball, but it never seemed like any of that really translated to points. I thought that game was easily going over. Whatever number they put, I thought it was going over. I thought that was going to be like a 38-35 game, and it was the opposite of that. I think that Kansas City's defense looks like world beaters now. Obviously,
they got Chris Jones back.
Well, they did get Chris Jones back, but they didn't play bad against the Lions either.
No.
You remember we were saying that. So, man, dude, if Patrick Mahomes gets a defense that's just like gnarly, that's very, very, very scary. So
I don't know. They only scored 17 points.
Right.
And they did lose to the Lions.
Right. But I think that they're going to recover that. And also Travis Kelce coming off his injury.
Well, he started slow last year, too.
Right.
Did, so we'll see. But, yeah, I was surprised at the score. That's the only thing that really surprised me.
Right. The outcome, I think I said the Jags would win. Kind of wish I could take that back, but it's all good.
Okay, next game was the first afternoon game. A 4 o'clock game was Niners at the Rams. Niners won 30-23.
My one thought is, who called LA and said, "Hey, we need you to cover here"?
Yeah, that screwed me.
Yeah, that was one thing I talked to my radio show today. That seems very, very shady. Other than that,
well, evidently, what's his nuts said he did that to
McVay.
Yeah, I could be wrong here, but I was listening to the radio and they said he did that for the fans who supported him and picked them. He wanted to cover the spread. And that's all I got to say about that. But that went pretty much like I thought it would.
So if you're a head coach, that seems really messed up, in my opinion.
Doesn't it?
If I'm a coach, I want to play every single second I got, especially against a rival. I want to score a touchdown on them so that they know the next time they come see us, that's what we're going to do.
Well, he said he wanted to get his new kicker time, and he wanted to show. They could have just been saying that, but okay, let's move on.
One quick thing: if you're a head coach concerned about the spread, you got way too many. That infuriates me, if that's the case.
That's what pisses you off?
Yes.
Deshaun Watson playing like a shit truck doesn't affect you like
no.
McVay kicking a field goal to cover the spread?
I won't get into it, but yeah, that is pretty bad. Anyway.
Okay, next game was the Giants at Arizona, and it took the Giants a mighty Herculean effort from Danny Dimes to come back and win that game.
They came back by 28 points, didn't they?
It was 28-3, I think, at half.
Right. 28-3, man. Reminiscent of Tom
Super
Brady.
Bowl. Yep.
Yeah. So does that mean that Danny Dimes is the next Tom Brady? Who knows?
No, I think what that means is the owner of the Arizona Cardinals called down and said, "Hey guys, we're supposed to be losing."
Yeah. Hey guys, we're trying to get Caleb Williams. You
Right.
need to chill out.
Right.
Joshua Dobbs can't be Superman out there.
Yeah, take Dobbs and sit him down or something. Give him a concussion because he's winning the game.
My one thought is that the touchdown run that Dobbs had was sick, followed by a secondary note saying that Saquon being lost is very, very sad for them. I think that's
they're talking about him playing this week.
That's smoke and mirrors.
Oh, yeah?
Because originally he was supposed to be out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, but he's Saquon. He's like superhuman. So
yeah, that's why
he'll be
he's
back.
missed 2 seasons with injuries. Anyway.
Yeah, Nick Chubb will be back in 3 weeks. Okay, next game, Jets at Cowboys, and this was a horrible game to watch. I can't believe they even put it on TV. That's my one thought. Cowboys won 30-10, and it wasn't even that close.
Yeah, I think that, honestly, the Cowboys scoring 30 points, now that offense is supposed to be really good, but that did definitely surprise me. The Jets' defense is, as we've said before, legit. So, yes, I thought the Cowboys were going to beat them. and handle Zach Wilson easily. But I was surprised that
Zach Wilson did not.
Micah Parsons scared him so bad. Anyway, we'll move on from that.
Okay, the next game was Washington at Denver, and Washington won that game 35-33.
Yep. That Hail Mary pass was pretty sick. Too bad they couldn't get the 2-point conversion. Washington put up a ton of points. Washington's looking pretty good. I've always liked Washington. That's always been another team that I root for. If I did have to have an NFC East team, it would probably be them. Shout out Uncle Jeff.
Yeah.
That's probably why. But, yeah, I'm actually kind of excited to see them play well. That defense, surprised that they gave up that many points to them, but overall, my one thought is just I wouldn't mind seeing Washington keep winning there.
Yeah, me neither. I don't mind Washington. I like Riverboat Ron. I mean, I don't think he's a great coach, but I like him.
I've always liked him.
I got kind of upset because I made a bet with like a minute 50 to go or whatever. They were down 10. And the spread, they changed the spread on the live betting app, and I bet on it. And then they threw that Hail Mary pass. It hit at the 5-yard line and became a touchdown. Like, what the hell?
Sean Payton's own too.
Yeah. But he's got Russell Wilson, who I would take over Deshaun right now. Next game, Miami at New England.
That game, in my opinion, was sick. I enjoyed that game a lot. Is Mike McDaniels the coolest coach in the league? I don't know.
Dude, he's up there.
Yeah.
That dude cracks me up.
Oh, yeah, he is awesome. But Tua didn't look crazy. Like, he didn't have his MVP performance like he did the week before. And
New
he didn't.
England's defense is legit.
Well, that's what I'm getting to. They didn't need it. And the run game looked really good. Mostert looked awesome. That's
fast. That team is fast.
They have 4, like, basically Olympian speed level guys, 2 receivers and a running back like that. And I think that's what scares me the most about Miami. I think Miami is incredibly dangerous because if Mostert stays healthy, they don't need to just throw the ball around. They can also run the ball, and that defense is legit. So that was my thought.
Yep, that's pretty much what I was thinking too. So the next game was the first Monday night game, New Orleans at Carolina. New Orleans won 2017.
Well, I got to see a little bit of this game because the NFL now has 2 Monday Night Football games and split screens it every now and again.
Are they doing that all season?
I don't know.
I hope not, because that's horrible.
No, I think the only reason they're doing that is...
Well, they have one this week, too.
I know, but I think they're only going to be doing that until buys start, is what I would think.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I would think. So
that way they can get all the games in. I got you.
Right. New Orleans is... I mean, this is my thought. New Orleans' offense has not been as potent as I thought it was, and I'm thinking maybe it's just because Derek Carr hasn't gotten... he's on a new team. That's the only thing I can think. If we were going to give Deshaun 12 games, 6 games last season, 6 games this season, I think maybe we should give Derek Carr a little bit to adjust that team. And also, Alvin Kamara should be coming back. Not this week, next week. I think that would be interesting to see. But Carolina's going to, I think, have a rough season this year. And New Orleans didn't impress me offensively.
This is my one thought, and it doesn't really revolve around this game, but I just thought of it, is the draft class for quarterbacks this year sucked ass. Because Bryce Young was number 1, and he should have probably been number 32. He's just too damn little. He's going to be, if he played our defense, he might die. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I'm nervous for him. They wouldn't even use him to run a quarterback sneak.
Right. Oh, why? No.
So, like, what's going to happen when he plays Philly? Or us? Or Dallas?
Or Tampa Bay with Vita Vea
Right.
falling on him.
I mean, he could die.
No, I hate using the small quarterback argument, but the thing is like with Kyler, he's fast and shifty enough that
Well, yeah, but Kyler's thick.
that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
like
Bryce Young
Tua, even though with his injuries, he is thick as well. Like the smaller quarterbacks, Baker, all these guys, they have like some meat to them. Whereas, what is Bryce Young like? At one point, they were saying he was like 160 pre-draft. That is crazy as a football player.
he looks like Logan out there playing football.
Yeah, and for context for people, Logan is my sister, and she was a rugby player and a badass. So
And she's tall.
Yeah.
And thin, built just like him.
right. So I think imagine seeing Myles Garrett, Za'Darius, and Dalvin Tomlinson fall on that guy.
At the quarterback.
That is very scary.
Dude, he could die.
And the other thing
And
that
I'm not saying that to be funny.
no, yeah.
That's a legitimate concern for me. I don't want to see that.
And I think Carolina did him a disservice because for the past couple of years, their offensive line has not been very good. So
Okay, well, that was about 100 thoughts. So,
yeah,
well, we don't even need to talk about the Cleveland game.
yeah,
It was trash. So, you want to move on to this week's games?
yeah. We can do similar.
I think we talked about Cleveland, Pittsburgh enough.
Yeah, or Cleveland and Tennessee as well.
So, I want to move on. Well,
Yeah.
no, because we're going to touch on that here, but it'll take a minute. Okay, so the first game this week, Thursday night, New York Giants at the 49ers, and the spread is 10.5.
Decimation, evisceration.
I like that.
49ers cover the spread, win easy. It's not even close.
Score.
I'm gonna say 38-13.
Okay, I'm going to say no Saquon. You're saying Saquon will not play?
No.
I mean, they're reporting that he could, but
He's not going.
you
to.
think there's no way?
Why would you put him in against that defense?
You think that's
either?
crap? Okay, so if Saquon doesn't play, I don't know what they're going to do.
They have Matt Breida, which Breida's actually
Breida's
not
not bad, but he's no Saquon.
Right.
So I'll say it's going to be 28-10.
I like that
Niners.
score probably better because I think that the Niners lay off a little bit too.
Well, maybe. I mean, if you've watched any of the games Cleveland's played, you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the next game on the list is Cleveland at Tennessee, or Tennessee at Cleveland. I think we all talked about that, but
Are we favorited too?
Yeah, we're favored by 3.5. I don't get it. This game,
It's home. We would be a 0.5 favorite on a neutral field.
I wouldn't even give a set, but I'll give my score here in a second. Give me yours.
I think the Browns. As an optimist, I think that the Browns win, but I don't think it's by that much. I do think that they cover the spread because that's kind of small.
3.5.
Yeah, I think they can win by more than a field goal. I don't think that we should be going down last second field goal trying to win the game. So I say the Browns win 24-13.
Okay, that's your final answer.
Yep, I probably gave a different answer earlier.
All right, I'm gonna say. Let me think. I'm gonna be optimistic here. The defense scores 3 touchdowns, and we win 21-20. Because I don't think our offense is going to do a damn thing. And I can't even believe I'm picking us to win that game.
Remember, I had us winning that 38-10 in preseason.
I think I had us 38-12. So, how the mighty have fallen.
Right.
But I'm saying our defense scores 3 touchdowns because I don't think we can with our quarterback situation right now. I hope don't get me wrong, folks. I really hope I'm wrong, but I just don't have a good feeling.
Yeah, and this is coming from Dad has been a skeptic so far because he goes off what he sees. I am a Deshaun Watson fan, and we always bleed brown and orange. So, we want nothing more than Deshaun to succeed and the Browns to succeed. It's just from what we can only judge what we see, and what we saw was a nightmare this week. So. And hasn't been much better for most of the time he's been here. So, just some context. But what's our next game?
Chargers at Minnesota. The Chargers are favored by 1.5.
These are 2-0-2
teams.
teams. Yeah. And who is at home?
Minnesota. Chargers at Minnesota.
Okay, so that would be a 4.5 It was at the Chargers.
Yeah.
Or no, that'd be a neutral field would be 4.5. So I don't know why the Chargers are favored, to be honest. I think that, yeah, I'll say it. I think that Minnesota impressed me more last week than the Chargers did. Granted, I don't know how Minnesota's defense matches up with that offense.
It's
not very good.
Go ahead. Give me your score.
I retract the last 15 seconds of what I said. I think the Chargers win this. They obviously cover that little tiny spread. So I'm going to say the Chargers win 30-23.
Okay. I think Minnesota played Philly last week and scored 28 points against that defense.
Yeah.
I think they're going to score 35 this week. And I think Chargers win 36-35.
Ooh, I like it. So they don't cover the spread.
Right. Don't bet that, people, because I'm not on a good roll
and
right now.
I don't feel good about that game at all. I would not bet it.
Okay, the next one. Pats at the New York Jets. And the Pats are only favored by 2.5.
I think these are two very, very similar teams right now. I think Mac Jones is a little bit better than Zach Wilson, but these are two really good defenses with pretty good run games. I think they're very similar.
Well, Patriots haven't been able to run the ball.
Yeah, they got Ramondre Stevenson. He's a beast.
They haven't been able to run the ball.
Oh, he's got me some fantasy points. I don't know. But you're right. I mean, they're not running the ball like they have been in the past, and so this game is hard for me to guess. Who's home, you said? Pats?
Jets.
Oh, the Jets are.
Yeah, the Jets are home dogs.
Okay, well, maybe then I go with the Pats, and I'll say that they win 21-17.
Well, I think the Jets, unless the defense can score points, I don't know how the Jets are going to score a point. I mean, they might get some field goals if Mac Jones falls down and fumbles or something. I don't know. I just don't know. The Pats offense doesn't look that bad. I mean, you got to remember that's a new coordinator coming onto a team who last year didn't have an offensive coordinator. They were basically, I don't even know what they were doing last year. I'm going to say 28 to I want to say 13. I don't know. I could see maybe a couple field goals and maybe a bullshit garbage time touchdown or something. What'd I say?
28-13, I think.
28-13. I'll go with it.
All right. Before we get to the next game, I want to make a disclaimer. I also do a radio show up at school on All Sports Cleveland where I talk about the Browns and everything and do very similar topics. So if you listen to both shows, I'm going to be posting the Justice to Serve stuff on the socials and all that good stuff. But if you hear both shows and you hear my answers to these be completely wrong, it's because I'm not writing them down, keeping track of them. And we're just going by the flow of what we're feeling in the moment.
And you gotta understand, he's sitting beside me, and I'm typically pretty emotional.
Yeah.
And I can change people's minds.
That's what he's saying. He's persuasive. He's in over my head, just like, hey, this is how it goes. This is the feeling. It gets to me. What can I say? But all right.
The next game is and another thing too is we're doing this. We don't have a script or nothing. So like when we're talking about these games, we literally are sitting here thinking. We don't have this written down. So next game, Houston at Jacksonville. Jacksonville is an 8.5-point favorite at home against Houston.
See, I think that's a really big spread because I think Houston's I think that Houston, even though that they're young, I like D'Amico Ryans a lot. I think their defense is a lot better than what people think. They got a lot of young stars there. I think they're going to be a hard out this year. I don't think that their record is going to show that, but I think they're going to cover lots of spreads. And Jacksonville did not impress me last week against KC. So I'm going to say that Jacksonville does win this game, but they don't cover. I'm going to say Jacksonville wins 28-23.
Okay. I'm going to say Jacksonville wins 35-17.
I don't know why. I just like
Because
Houston.
I don't think Houston's defense is anywhere near what Kansas City's playing right now. And I think Doug Peterson's going to light a fire under somebody. I don't know what – I'll be honest, I did not watch 1 second of that game because I had no desire to watch Kansas City Jacksonville play. I hate both teams. And I thought it was going to be a blowout, and I didn't even know what the score was until the Browns played. And at that point in time, I was so depressed, I didn't care. So I did not watch that game. But after seeing what the score was, I got a feeling somebody's got to be mad enough that they're going to come out and want to score some points.
Yeah.
So the next game, Buffalo at Washington. Buffalo's favored by 6.5.
I think Washington has shown me that they have some game to them. I think that Buffalo wins this game, but I think Washington covers. And I'm going to say Buffalo wins 31 to 27. Trying to figure out how I can make that work.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think that Washington, like I said for Houston, I actually believe this more so for Washington. I think they're going to be hard out this year.
Washington play this week?
Denver. Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know. That doesn't give you much faith based off of how many points they give up to that team.
Okay. Well, I think the score will be Buffalo 28, Washington Commandos 17.
Okay, so they cover for you.
No, they don't.
Buffalo does.
Oh, yeah. Okay, next game, Indy at Baltimore.
Okay. This is the Colts rivalry game. 2 former Colts franchises. 1 current Colts franchise. I think that Baltimore wins, especially. I mean, I don't know that I like Anthony Richardson. Think he could have a great
Well, evidently,
career,
the reason he got injured was because he got tackled out of bounds or something. His head smacked the ground, so they took him out for a concussion.
So he's just in protocol. It wasn't confirmed.
Right.
So he could play?
I don't think it was confirmed. I think he was just put into protocol. I guess that's a thing now. If they see a player come down and smack their head on the turf, they pull them out.
Right.
And now that's what I'd heard. Don't quote me on that.
Well, if Richardson plays, I think that will be interesting. Or yeah, Anthony Richardson plays. I think that would be interesting because, I mean, you're getting Lamar and him. I'm curious to see how their defense handles a running quarterback. I'm going to say Baltimore wins, doesn't cover. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game because I like Indy's defense. I'm going to say it's 21-17 Baltimore.
Well, I would agree with that, but I'm going to go the other way just because I don't want Baltimore to win.
Right.
I hate them. And I'm going to say Indy wins 21-17. Because I sat here and said Lamar sucks.
Right.
And all of that. So they'll probably win. I should pick them to win, but I don't bet games anymore, because I suck at it. So I'm rooting with my heart right now, and I'm pulling for Indy.
Yeah.
So the next game is...
I hope it goes that way, too.
The next game is Atlanta at Detroit. And Detroit's favored by 3.5, which actually kind of surprises me.
Right. It surprises me as well based off their records, but I think that they should be favored. Atlanta.
No, it surprises me that it's that low.
Oh, I got you.
Because they're at home. So
right. It's
basically
only
they're a half-point favorite
right.
on
Okay. I got you.
neutral field.
That is surprising. I think Detroit wins and covers. I think Detroit is going to put up tons of points, and I think that's the only way they're going to be able to win this year because their defense a little bit suspect maybe. So I think Detroit wins 28 – or sorry, no. Take that back. 31-25.
25?
Yeah.
I think
some weird scores.
I think Detroit wins 28-21. And I would have put that spread at like 5.5. Because I think they're way better than basically that's a field goal.
Right, and Atlanta's 2-0 though.
Yeah, but it's Atlanta.
Right.
They're supposed to suck. God, I wish we were in that division. Then we could give Deshaun time to grow up or whatever he needs to do.
Or let Baker beat him twice a year. Could you
Okay, I don't
imagine
want
that?
to be in that division. All right, the next game. I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah.
Next game, New Orleans at Green Bay. Green Bay's favored by only 2.
Yeah, I think I don't know. That was one that was hard for me because I think that Derek Carr and the Saints could be good. They haven't shown any sort of dominance yet, or not even dominance. I shouldn't say that because I don't know that they would be a dominant offense, but I thought that they could be pretty high scoring.
I don't know why they would be though. I mean, if you think about it, they got Michael Thomas,
Right.
Olave. They got
Thomas looked good last week.
Kamara's not playing right now.
He's going to be soon.
I mean, that should be a good team.
Pretty good offensive line, and that defense is nuts.
Their defense is good.
Right. So I would say they're a week away from Kamara getting back. I think they lose this. I think Green Bay wins, and I think they cover. I'm going to say Green Bay 28, New Orleans 17. I think it's a pretty easy win.
Is Aaron Jones playing this game?
I don't know, actually.
No.
But A.J. Dillon would be the backup.
Yeah. I like both their backs in Green Bay.
I do too. I think A.J. Dillon is...
I don't know. I kind of like Jordan Love too. So I'm going to say 31-24 Green Bay. Because I don't think Green Bay's defense is that good. I mean, it's not bad, but I don't think it's that good. I mean, they played... Who did they play? They played Atlanta. Lost. Oh, man.
They played Atlanta and lost, and Chicago, and gave up quite a few points there.
Well, I'll stick with it. It's already written down, so I'll stick with it. Next, we got Denver at Miami, and Miami is only favored at home by 6.5. That is one I do not understand.
Yeah, I think Miami, 1 million, Denver, 2. I don't care what the spread is. I think they cover it.
Okay, so what score do you want me to write in? 1 million?
1 million to 2.
Okay, 1 million to 2. So Denver's going to get a sack, safety.
Why do we do that? Dang it! Yes, you're right. So 3.
3? Okay, that's better. That's why I asked. 1 million.
They
to
could,
3.
I suppose, but
I mean, I'd like to see him score 1 million points. Like, that's crazy. I think I've thrown that out there too, but
no, I think Tyreek Hill just catches everything for 120 yards.
only 120 yards?
Yeah, because he couldn't get any further. Actually, it's 118 yards.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Right.
Okay, so I'm going to have Miami like 45 to 10 because I think Russ sucks. And Miami's defense isn't bad, and their offense is just redonkulous.
If I had to give an actual realistic one, I would probably say I would go Miami 38, and then I would go Denver 13. I can easily see that.
Okay. The next one, spread I don't get, Carolina at Seattle. Seattle's favored by 6. I don't...
See why Seattle's higher?
No, it should be way higher.
Right.
Like, they have Miami over Denver at 6.5.
Right.
And I think Denver's a way better team than Carolina. Seattle ain't Miami, but Seattle's defense is damn good.
And their offense.
Their offense isn't bad. I mean, Geno Smith is Geno Smith.
Right. But they have everything else. I think that Seattle wins. I don't know. I could actually see
All
Carolina.
these games suck.
I know. Yeah, it's hard. Carolina could cover, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's
Question mark?
Yeah, I don't know what the score is,
Pick
but
'em?
yeah,
Tie?
no. Seattle wins it. I'm gonna say they just cover the spread. They win by a touchdown, so they win 28-21.
28-21.
I don't know that Carolina actually scores that much, though.
Dude, I don't think Carolina's going to score that much. I think it's going to be like. I like your 28 score, but I'm going to go higher. I'm going to go 31 to 12, 4 field goals. Because I can see Seattle bending and not breaking.
Right.
Maybe they don't want to kill the poor kid his third week in the league.
Right.
So I'll go 31 to. I meant 12, not 14.
Bobby Wagner's going to take him out like he did that fan.
So, okay, the next game is Chicago at Kansas City.
All right. Chicago is going to...
Kansas City's favored by 12 and a half.
Oh, man. 12 and a half is so much. That's crazy.
Well, we're not picking against the spread.
Yeah,
so
we're not.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's just say Kansas City wins. I have no idea if they cover that spread, though. Well, I guess my score will determine it. I'll just say that. So I think Kansas City wins 38 to 17.
Boy, you're giving Chicago some credit. I'm going to say it's going to be 42 to 10.
I'm a fan of Justin Fields, and I think that there is home run capability with DJ Moore, and Khalil Herbert has shown some of that too. So I don't know if their offense looks like it strings drives together to get those points, but I think maybe a couple of home run hits cause it.
I don't see how that's going to happen. I've watched Kansas City's defense enough. Now, granted, I mean, they're playing Chicago. Maybe they'll take a nap. I don't know, but I see Chris Jones having 5 sacks in this game.
Yeah.
Right up the middle. Their line, Chicago's offensive line is horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Their O-line looks weakly like the Browns did this past week. That is no joke. Like, everybody talking about how bad Justin Fields looks. Well, look what happened with, like, Deshaun having people around every now and again. That dude's running for his life every single play. So
right, inject him into our offense, and he's probably like, "Oh my God, I got days to throw the ball." I mean, I watched. I didn't watch much of their last game because, well, yeah, actually I did. I watched quite a bit of it because I wanted to see Baker because I had heard that he won, so I wanted to watch it, and he had no time. Like we're sitting here bitching about Deshaun, like quick feet, not looking downfield, and he's got 2 to 3 seconds.
Right.
Fields don't have that. So, like, I honestly don't. I gave him 10 points, and I don't know how the hell they'd score it. Because I just see Chris Jones having 5 sacks in this game. He could win DP, Defensive Player of the Year, off this game alone. I mean, that's how I see it. Okay, the next game is Dallas at Arizona, and Dallas is favored by 12 and a half. These games suck.
All right, getting back to the one thought thing. Dallas is going to win. They're going to cover. I think it's going to be 45 to 6. Oh, actually, no, it's going to be 45-6. But Joshua Dobbs, I hope he survives it.
Well, if it's that bad, it's going to not be good. I mean, Dallas has given up how many points this season? They had a shutout, and then they played
10. They gave up 10 points so far
to the Jets. So they've given up 10 points in 2 games, and they've scored 70.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna say. I think they'll shut them out.
I think they could.
I'm gonna say 30 to 0. That's where I'm at with that. Okay. Next game is Pittsburgh at Vegas, and Vegas is favored by 2.5.
That makes no sense to me whatsoever. I don't get that at all. I think here is where you get people being like, "Oh, this was the offense we were seeing in the preseason for Pittsburgh." Now, Max Crosby could cause some havoc there, but I think Pittsburgh's offense kind of does pretty well I think they're going to win 28-17, and I think they feel pretty comfortable throughout the game.
I'm going to say 31-17 because Vegas sucks.
The only thing that would concern me, and I don't know, but I wonder who they have guard Devontae Adams. Patrick Peterson, you think?
God, no. He sucks. He's done.
Joey Porter Jr.?
No, they'll do what they did to our guys. They'll bracket him and
Yeah, that's what you'd have to.
keep the ball in front of them.
Because Devontae Adams could eat them up, I think.
Devontae Adams ain't going to have time to go downfield.
That's fair.
But I don't know. Vegas could win the game. I don't understand.
I'd be okay with that.
I'd be okay with it too. But I don't see it. Next one's Philly at Tampa Bay. This actually could be a good game. Depends on the Philly team that shows up, in my opinion.
Yeah. This reminds me of a playoff matchup that used to have.
Philly's favored by 4.5. It's Monday night. First one.
I think I could see this being a close game. I don't know that it will be if Philly gets the pressure. I think they're going to get a lot of pressure on Baker. I think that's going to cause some problems. The one thing last week with Tampa Bay is it looked like their offensive line was making several mistakes. And you can't do that against Philly. That D-line is a nightmare. So I say Philly wins this, and they win it relatively handily. I think they win 35-21.
I like that. I'll go with it. Yeah, I don't think Baker will play a good game this game. I could see 2, maybe 3 interceptions this game.
Yeah, big play Slay. Getting some more picks.
But I don't know. We'll see. Okay, last game on the docket. The Rams versus at Cincinnati, and Cincy's favored by 2.5, which I do not understand that one either.
Nope. I don't either. You have an 0-2 team. Are they both 0-2?
No.
Did the Rams win week 1? Can't remember.
No. Rams. Yeah, the Rams smoked Seattle week 1.
Right. Okay. So you have an 0-2 team favored over a 1-1 team. Which, whatever. It's week 2.
Yeah, but Joe Burrow's hurt. Supposedly, he's hurt. I mean, Jamar Chase came out and said he shouldn't be playing.
Cincinnati is 0-2, and the NFL did their power rankings this week, and they're number 11 or something like that. They're 2 spots above the Browns.
Well, the Browns were 18
and
or 17, something like that.
Well, the NFL is this week. They're 13.
No, I just heard it. That must have been a different.
Maybe it was a different thing. Yeah. Okay. But anyway, I think that spread confuses me a lot, and I wonder why it's the case. If Joe Burrow is actually injured, then and not fully, or maybe he's not injured actively, but not fully back and comfortable. I think this could be kind of worrisome, especially with Aaron Donald in the face. So that I have no really good feeling for this game because you kind of don't know what either team is. I'm going to go with Cincy. I think they win, and I think they do cover, but I don't think it's a good game, and I think it's sloppy. So I'm going to say it's 23-17. I worry about Aaron Donald. However, on the flip side, I worry about who Matt Stafford's throwing to. Rookie receiver, he is playing well, but how sustainable is that? They just traded Cam Akers. It feels like they're kind of tearing it down. So,
well, I want the Rams to win, so I'm going to pick them to win, and I think they're going to win because I'm not impressed by Cincinnati at all. Like, I don't know what is going on there.
Right.
I'm going to say it's going to be 31 Los Angeles Rams to 24 Cincinnati Bengals.
That would be sick. And the Rams win the Super Bowl again. over the Cincinnati Bengals. Too bad Cooper Kupp's not there to help out.
Well, dude, I really don't think you need to do much to beat the Bengals right now. I mean, they can't throw the ball.
I don't disagree.
They can't throw the ball. I mean, they did score 24 against Baltimore, but I mean, I don't know. I just don't think they can move the ball. They go away from the run too freaking quick.
Yeah.
They're pulling a Stefanski.
Yeah, I'm surprised Mixon decided to stay there.
He shouldn't have. No. I hate to say that. And I don't really even hate. I like the Bengals. Not like them, but I don't mind them. I don't hate them like I hate the Ravens and the Steelers.
Right.
But I kind of root for them because, I mean, they're from Ohio and
Paul Brown.
The Browns have sucked. And so when they've made the playoffs, I pull for them. But I love Joe Burrow.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't think he's right. Something ain't right.
If that team wasn't the Bengals and was another team, that's a fun team to root for. I like so many of their players. Logan Wilson on defense. I mean, they have tons of defensive players I like a lot. Sam Hubbard, Ohio State Buckeye. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a good feel for that game. But that's kind of our picks for this week. Was there anything else you were wanting to talk about? Anything on your mind?
I think I said it all.
Yep. I think it's time to wrap this one up.
Until Deshaun gets right, I really don't even know what to say.
No. Yeah, I don't think there is anything to say. You just got to see what happens.
Yep.
But, alrighty, guys. Well, we're going to call it quits there. Thanks again for checking us out and support. We really appreciate it. As always, you guys can follow us on or subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow our podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music. Sorry, Apple Podcasts and Amazon Music. And then we're going to start trying to get some socials created for just the show so you guys can follow those. But for now, I'm promoting it on my social media, so you can find any of my stuff on Justice Garber 84. Some of my socials have different handles, but if you just type in Justice Garber, you'll find it. But again, we thank you guys, and can't wait to see a Browns victory Monday.
I hope. We'll see. I'm not counting my chickens.
I hear you. Alrighty, guys. Have a great week. See you next one. Thank you for listening to the Chillen with the Dawgs podcast. Our episodes drop Friday mornings. You can catch them on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and a lot more podcasting apps to come. You can also find it on my YouTube page at Justice Garber on YouTube. And if you'd like to support the channel, you could always watch some more videos. I make all different kinds of content. And then you can also like, comment, subscribe, follow my social medias at Justice Garber. But we really appreciate you guys checking it out, and we can't wait to get more for you next week.